So I'll put it back on you, Dakota. Who do you think is the number one flyweight in the women's division right now?
Valentina Shevchenko.
You still put her number one?
100%. Look, she's the first person to finish her rubies on a belt. She's been around for so long, and she stayed at the top of that level.
Dakota Ditcheva, the undefeated British fighter who just claimed the PFL championship, has dropped a bombshell message aimed directly at Dana White and the UFC. She didn't hold back. In her own words, she said the world is hers now, and she's coming to conquer the UFC. That kind of statement doesn't just shake up one promotion, it rattles the entire sport. When a young unbeaten star looks across the cage at legends and promises she's ready for all of them, fans listen. Dana listens too, and this isn't just hype. Dakota has been backing it up with dominant wins and jaw-dropping knockouts that leave opponents unable to continue. She's the kind of fighter who doesn't just win, she sends a message every time she steps inside the cage. Now she's turning that message toward the UFC, making it clear that she's not here to participate, she's here to take over. But what led to this shocking moment? And why is she already being called the most dangerous woman in the sport? Let's break down the story piece by piece, because this isn't just about one fighter's rise, it's about a storm coming straight for the UFC.
When is Dakota Ditcheva going to the UFC?
I think people now, with me beating Tyler Santos, they want to see like what else I'm capable of, so it's got to be something more.
Women want to be equal. And believe me when I tell you, women have proved here that they are equal. They have absolutely proven themselves, and people love the women's fight.
Dakota's dominance in the PFL is what gives her words so much weight. She's not just another prospect calling out big names, she's the real deal. Her biggest win so far came against Taila Santos, a former UFC title challenger who once pushed Valentina Shevchenko to the limit in a 5-round war. Most people thought Santos was one of the toughest fighters in the division. When she stepped in against Dakota, the fight didn't last long. Dakota walked through her with shocking ease, finishing the fight before Santos could even get going. That victory didn't just prove she belongs among the elite, it showed she's operating on a completely different level. Fans couldn't believe how easily she dismantled someone who went the distance with Valentina. For Dakota, it was just another day at the office. She's been blasting through everyone in her path, barely breaking a sweat. That kind of dominance forces people to ask, if she's doing this in PFL, what would happen if she gets inside the UFC octagon?
Social media followers have gone up. Has there been anybody that's followed you or messaged you and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe this person even knows I exist?
Doku just commented, and then somebody else told me after my last fight that Jake Paul tweeted me, but it was Ariel that told me like 2 weeks later, and I was like, oh shit, I missed it.
The question isn't whether she belongs, it's how many legends she'll knock down on her way to the throne. After beating Santos, Dakota didn't hesitate when asked who she wanted next. She said Valentina Shevchenko, the longtime queen of the UFC flyweight division. At just 26 years old, she's already daring to call out the legend who has ruled 125 for years. She made it clear that she respects Valentina and everything she's accomplished, but she no longer believes Shevchenko is the best at flyweight. In Dakota's eyes, the time has come for someone new to take the throne, and she's ready to prove that person is her. That kind of call-out isn't reckless, it's calculated. Dakota knows that every fighter dreams of testing themselves against the very best, and she isn't waiting around to be handed an opportunity. By aiming at Valentina, she's putting the UFC on notice. This isn't about fighting safe or padding her record. She wants the top challenge right now. And when fans hear a young fighter with a perfect record call out the reigning queen with no hesitation, it creates the kind of anticipation that sells out arenas.
Kayla Harrison, your teammate over at American Top Team, she accomplished what she just accomplished, a major deal. How did you react to that? And what did that mean to you and to the rest of the team to see her walk in the gym and add another belt to that just massive display of belts you guys have in there?
Crazy. I've actually got goosebumps when you think about it. Like, her journey through MMA has been, or just through martial arts sport, has been crazy.
For Dakota, the road to greatness isn't about climbing slowly, it's about kicking down the door. The reason Dakota's words hit so hard is because her record backs them up. 15 fights, 15 wins, and 13 of those by finish. That's a 93% finish rate, something rarely seen in women's MMA. What makes it scarier is how she does it. Some fighters grind out decisions or pick opponents apart slowly. Dakota doesn't fight like that. She comes forward, she overwhelms, and she puts people away. First round knockouts, brutal knees to the body, elbows in the clinch. She has a wide arsenal, and she uses it without hesitation. The numbers tell the story, but the highlights show the truth. Opponents don't just lose to Dakota, they often leave questioning their future in the sport. Her fights against Lisa Malden and Cornelia Holm ended with devastating finishes that left both women struggling to recover. Holm hasn't fought since. When you're not just beating opponents but potentially ending their careers, that's the type of power that makes people whisper about greatness. Dana White pays attention to fighters who can finish. And with Dakota, finishing is her default mode. Every time she fights, fans are left wondering who will survive and how long. But behind all the knockouts, there's also tension.
Hey guys, it's Dakota Ditcheva here. Took care of business last year for PFL Europe, and I'm here to do the same in the global season. See you soon.
Despite being the reigning PFL champion, Dakota found herself left out of the promotion's next tournament. Fans immediately question why. Why would PFL sideline their biggest star, the woman who just dominated their division? The answer seems simple: contract strategy. If Dakota ran through the tournament and burned through her fights quickly, she could become a free agent right as the UFC came calling. PFL doesn't want that. They want to keep their golden goose locked down, especially with Kayla Harrison already jumping ship to UFC. For Dakota, this situation has been frustrating. She admitted it's been mentally tough not knowing when or where she'll fight next.
You're going to build your fighter striking.
Me. Just Sugar Sean probably after me.
Wrestling?
But I think the obvious one would be Khabib. But Kayla Harrison, I really think she could give him a run for his money.
Jiu-jitsu.
Gillian Robertson. For a male, Charles.
She trained hard in Florida while watching other fighters prepare for tournaments, and the lack of opportunities left her feeling disheartened. It's one thing to be undefeated and hungry. It's another to be stuck on the sidelines during your prime. That frustration is fueling her hunger to push beyond PFL and chase bigger fights. And that hunger, mixed with her talent, is a dangerous combination. Dakota has been open about how difficult the wait has been. She said being left without a fight lined up has tested her mentally more than any opponent ever could. At one point, she even went back home to refresh because training with no goal in sight was draining her. But even in those low moments, she never stopped believing in herself. Now she's back in the gym, sharper and hungrier than before. That mental strength is what separates champions from contenders. Most fighters lose focus without constant fights lined up. Dakota used the time to reset, and now she's even more determined to fight anyone, anywhere.
I don't want to ask you when Dakota Ditcheva is going to be in the UFC, but I get the feeling this woman is going to make a lot of money. All hail Dakota Ditcheva, increasingly a face of women's MMA.
She is very, very good and very, very dangerous and really is the full package.
She knows fans want to see her tested against the best, and she's eager to deliver. That's why her message to Dana White carries so much power. She's not begging for an opportunity, she's demanding it. She knows her worth, she knows her skill, and she knows the UFC cannot ignore her forever. That's the confidence of someone who believes their destiny is already written. The cage may be locked, but her ambition is already broken out. At the same time, Dakota is careful not to disrespect those who came before her. She repeatedly says she has nothing but admiration for Valentina Shevchenko, calling her the most complete fighter in women's MMA. She acknowledges that Valentina has stayed at the top for years while everyone else fell short, but Dakota also believes every reign must eventually end, and she's positioning herself as the one to end it. This balance between respect and ambition makes her stand out. She's not just trash-talking her way into attention, she's carefully plotting her rise, while giving credit where it's due. When she says she wants Valentina, it's not because she underestimates her, it's because she wants to test herself against the very best. That's the mark of a true competitor. She respects the past, but she's hungry to shape the future, and that's why fans feel her words carry more weight than most. She's not reckless, she's ready, and she's not chasing attention, she's chasing history. Her resume of highlight reel knockouts is what keeps her name trending. Against Lisa Malden, she delivered a body shot so brutal that Malden crumpled to the canvas, barely able to move as the referee stepped in. Against Cornelia Holm, she landed a perfect liver shot followed by a crushing punch that ended the fight instantly. These aren't flukes, they're patterns. Dakota finds ways to break opponents down and then finishes with shots that leave no doubt. Fans love finishers, and promoters love them even more. The ability to end fights in violent fashion is what turns fighters into stars. It's what sells pay-per-views, fills arenas, and creates highlight reels that go viral. Every time Dakota steps into the cage, there's a sense that something explosive is about to happen, and more often than not, it does. That kind of reputation follows a fighter everywhere, and it's one of the main reasons the UFC can't afford to ignore her much longer, because one way or another, people will pay to see Dakota Ditcheva fight.
I mean, I've been telling you. I was trying to tell you, but...
You think they're going to listen now, right?
Maybe. I'm sure they'll still be moaning about me, but I'll just keep proving them wrong.
You're the first person to prove this system. Europe belt, World Championship. What's next for you?
Oh, I don't know.
Beyond the cage, Dakota has the charisma that makes her marketable. She's not just a destroyer, she's also relatable. After her wins, she famously celebrates with a McDonald's Coke, a small gesture that fans find both funny and humanizing. She's Britain's first female MMA world champion, which gives her a historic place in the sport, and she carries herself with confidence that borders on swagger, but never crosses into arrogance. That balance is rare. She knows how to connect with fans, whether through her interviews, her social media presence, or the way she carries herself on fight night. She's already becoming a mainstream figure, and that crossover appeal is what makes fighters true stars. Dana White knows the value of fighters who can draw attention both inside and outside the cage. With Dakota, he sees not just a fighter, but a potential icon, and that's what makes her bombshell message even more powerful. She's not only fighting for belts, she's fighting for her place as a household name. Finally, the tug of war between PFL and UFC is reaching a boiling point. PFL knows Dakota is their biggest female star now that Kayla Harrison is gone. They want to keep her as the face of their women's division, the fighter they can build around for years to come. But the UFC sees the writing on the wall. An undefeated knockout artist with international star power doesn't come along often. For Dana White, the question isn't if he'll sign her, it's when. And for Dakota, the question isn't if she'll take over, it's how fast it will happen. Her message was clear. She's ready to conquer the UFC. She's not waiting for permission, she's declaring it. That kind of energy is impossible to ignore. Whether she stays in PFL a little longer or makes the jump soon, one thing is certain: the women's flyweight division worldwide is about to change forever. And when Dakota Ditcheva steps into the UFC octagon, the entire sport will feel it. The bombshell has been dropped, and the countdown to her UFC takeover has already begun.